Is that correct?
Yeah, 5 minutes each, yeah.
That's correct.
So, yeah, thanks, Chair. As I suppose someone who's been a shop steward all my working life and somebody who continues to take up workers' cases, I really had to check the calendar to make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day when I saw this motion coming in. Because to be perfectly honest, after 5 years of Labour in government, the spectacle of the Minister for Finance getting up at the last budget and bragging that 700,000 workers were now taken out of the USC net, meaning 700,000 workers in this state have an annual income of less than 13,000 euros because of the race to the bottom that is taking place under Labour's watch. And ye really have some neck bringing this forward. So I welcome and will be supporting the Sinn Féin amendment, which is before the House tonight, which rightly places and recognises the failure of the last government to defend and protect workers' rights. Because if we don't acknowledge that at the start and know where we're coming from, we won't be able to point out where we're going to. And it's correct to talk about Cleary's, but there have been many other cases over the past 5 years. Workers locked out of their jobs, denied wages and redundancy payments, in some cases intimidated and sacked for union membership, often at the hands of companies who made handsome profits. And the amendment correctly points out that we do need strong labour laws, and I protect that. But I do think Labour's motion itself even exposes how divorced you actually are from reality. Because you talk about, as economic conditions continue to improve, the government will stand up for working people. It's absolutely jaw-dropping, to be honest, in its ignorance. The job of being a party that defends labour and workers means you stand up for working people no matter what the economic conditions are. And actually, in the bad times, there's an even greater need for you to do that. Do you think when Jim Larkin arrived in Dublin that he turned around and said, you know what, lads, I'll come back in a few years because actually the economic climate isn't quite right at the moment? Of course he didn't. He fought for workers because workers' rights weren't granted by any noble being. Workers' rights were fought for in this state, and in that sense I absolutely salute the workers who have been engaged at the coalface of defending their rights, be it the Tesco workers, the Dunn Stores workers, the Lewis drivers and all of the others who've had to take this battle on. It's their struggles actually that will change the face of workers' rights in this country. And you know, when you look, I opened the paper this morning and I see John Fitzgerald talking about the problems of austerity and the type of economics that your government brought in last time round. And they particularly made the point that it was particularly hardest hit for women workers, being the lowest paid, the most casual employment. Women workers suffered most under your watch. Today, I got a phone call from a woman in my constituency. She's been on a temporary contract for the last 5 years, doing work outsourced for an agency outsourced by the HSE. She's on a 0-hour contract with no hope of permanency, no guarantee week to week of how many hours she's going to receive. She can't get credit from a bank, and when she tried to get an educational course to up her skills, she couldn't get a loan to pay for course fees. Remember what she said about college fees as well? But that was a different story too. And the practice of outsourcing and privatisation is at the heart of this race to the bottom that is underway. Outsourcing good jobs to private companies undermines workers' conditions and job security, but also undermines the efficiency of the services that are to be delivered. And we could mention many examples, but I'll just mention the example of the laundry department at Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Drogheda, where the HSE has systematically cut funding to on-site services and had to alternatively outsource that in a piecemeal position to a private company. It's not efficient, it costs the HSE more, and it undermines workers' jobs that are there. Of course, there's no wonder that that's happening when we see all of the labour activation schemes that were facilitated by the last government, the discredited Jobs Bridge and Gateway programmes. So it is a bit rich for ye to move this motion tonight when we look at all of the companies where union members have been shafted. And I'll end, Count Corla, on the Greyhound dispute. A company registered in the Isle of Man, who refused to publish their profits that they'd made from the privatisation of waste collection, slash the wages of permanent workers, enforce new contracts overnight without consultation, lock the workers out, blatantly hired scab labour to undermine their jobs.
Thanks,
and Labour did nothing.
So
it's too late for that now. I fully support the amendment before
Thomas Pringle.